Alright, hello and welcome to this video, and sorry that the lighting in here is not exactly top notch, but I'm only going to be in here for a minute. So like you saw in the title, this is a video on how to make Ike's armor, but more specifically, I mean, look at him. He doesn't quite have a lot of armor. So what I'm going to be doing is making the shoulder piece and just this little handguard piece, which I think is only one piece, but I'm actually going to make it into two, just because I want to make something articulating and fun, and I'm all about trying new things. I'm not going to be making his shin guards because they're literally just shin guards, and I don't know, yeah. The reason I got interested in making his armor is, one, because I love Ike and I play Smash a ton, and I keep seeing people with these shoulder pieces and these hand pieces who are like swordsmen. So I'm going to go get my pizza out of the oven. So you can't exactly get dimensions off of this guy right here, so pretty much I'm just going to do everything as proportional as I can, and I'm just mainly trying to get this design of this shoulder piece right here, and then the hand piece I'm going to try to get some design, but I mean mainly it's going to be my own thing. As far as this goes, you can see it spans from his shoulder almost all the way down to his elbow, so compared for me, because I'm going to be fitting this on myself, this piece of paper right here, I cut it out, it's a little diamond piece. I believe it's 11 inches. I just took the entire piece of paper and made it into like a little kite shape. And then for the second piece that's gonna lay over top of that, I just cut out a square that kind of extends to both corners. I forget the length on this one. It's 3 inches tall and 8.5 inches wide, so it was just the whole piece of paper. And after I cut these pieces out, I'm going to figure out a way to attach them together. I don't know. I'll probably put like a bolt here and a bolt here and then fold these corners over. And then I'll bend the whole thing. And then I'll attach like leather and stuff to the back. But this was just the first step, was getting like a stencil of the metal I'm going to cut out. So now that we have that done, we can go to my backyard and cut some metal. So, this is what I will be making the armor from, and it's pretty nice metal. I don't know what kind it is, but it's just really thin metal, so it will be easy to cut and easy to mold and mold it into what I want. And it's also got a pretty neat pattern on it. This used to be my slide, but obviously my swing set got turned into a chicken coop. So we took down the slide, and I've already taken one piece off of it. Well, we have no use for it. And so, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and use it. And you can actually see on the bottom, I think it says something. Oh yeah, it says Fort Benz on it. Because I thought it was like my fort. I'd sit under the slide and like put stuff there. So I colored with mud on it. Anyway, I'm gonna draw out these templates now. I thought about putting it on top of something, but I think it's gonna be easiest if I just cut kneeling from the top on it. That should be the easiest way to cut out what I need. Also, cut it out with whatever tool you can, but I highly recommend the angle grinder. Just make sure you're wearing some good face protection, because this stuff flings like metal everywhere. But angle grinder will definitely cut the quickest. Well, at least we got that cutting done. Seems to be shaped up a little bit. But that's why I saved those templates. Some people may have like glued them onto the thing. Could have gotten a pretty accurate cut that way, but I like to use the templates again for shaping. And yeah, so that's pretty good. Let's compare these two in size. Okay, so that's already looking pretty nice. That's like all we need. Now, I think from the other side I'm going to take enough metal for the hand guard. Alright, so looking at this, I actually stayed very true to the template's design. The only place where I messed up a little bit was right there. As you can see, the paper exceeds a little bit, but I think it's even enough to where I'm not going to have to make any major adjustments. So what I'm going to do now is get my bench grinder, and I'm just going to grind off any rough edges. I might take the belt sander and just try to get this stuff off. Or I might actually get the blowtorch and just see if that stuff melts off. But that's something you guys won't have to worry about, probably, unless your metal's been sitting underneath the pine tree. So yeah, there's sap all over this. But yeah, next step would be to just make sure everything's even, get the bench grinder or file, whatever you have, and just make sure everything's pretty even. This other piece, it's also pretty even, but like I said, this is going to be a piece that's shaped up in accordance to this one. Also, I was messing with this metal on the anvil a little bit, just trying to bend it. Wasn't even using a hammer, I just pushed on it, and it gives a really good bend, and it holds its shape really well. So when I curve this to my shoulder, that anvil I have, some of you have seen it, some of you may not. I'll show it later, but it's just a railroad tie. So it's about the width of my shoulder, and I can bend this easily to the shape of my shoulder. I just have to get this thing lined up down the middle and bend it. So I'm really excited to go ahead and do that, but that will be probably after I attach everything, because I want everything to line up pretty evenly. I'll attach it all. I think I'll bend these outward actually, and I have 2 pins I'll stick through here. And then I gotta figure out how to attach it actually to my shoulder. This is the other piece I cut out for my wrist guard. I'm gonna do the same thing with that, bend it down the middle, clean off the rough edges. And then I have this piece, which I think on Ike's actual thing, he just has like a piece laid over another piece. It's not articulating at all. But what I'm gonna try to do is bend this into the shape to my hand. Obviously I'm gonna have to clear that off a little bit. And I think I can attach them with 2 bolts attached by leather. So there will be like a bolt here and a bolt here, and then a bolt here and a bolt here, and leather in between. And it will allow for that articulation. And I think it would be easiest, I don't know. I mean, that would keep the wrist from hyperextending. I'm gonna have to mess with that a little bit and figure out actually how to get that articulating. And obviously I gotta clean this piece up a lot. I'm just gonna take the angle grinder and cut right there, and then shape it just into a little oval for my hand. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so I just cleaned up these pieces, and I'm pretty sure just taking a blowtorch to this will melt off all that sap, so I'm gonna do that really quick too. And whenever it's all said and done, I want to try to color it blue with the torch. I don't know how well that will work. The only weird deviation on this piece is right there, as you can see, and I'm not too worried about it, because I think this piece will cover it up enough and it's gonna look fine. I'm gonna try to curve both of these. It's gonna be a little bit complicated to figure out how to attach it. I need to go get some leather or find something. So I'm not too worried about that though. I think I'm gonna have to figure out how actually all these attach and from what angle. I might need to do a little bit more cleaning up right there. I'm not too worried about like character marks like that either, because it's supposed to be like armor. Handguard I'm really excited about, because this piece, whenever I cut it, I'll actually show you how it originally was. Something like that, maybe? I don't know, it was a really weird looking piece. But once I cut that off, it made this piece. And originally I was thinking, okay, I'll just cut this angle, like try and make it like a square. But it actually works out perfect that that could be the thumb side. So I can have this piece hanging down there, all this would be curved. And then the thumb side is open. Well, this goes over the middle knuckle a little bit. So now I'm gonna melt off all the wax with the blowtorch, and probably won't record that. Like I didn't record the bench grinding because there's really not a lot to it. It's just kind of like a time filler, but I don't really need to fill time. Then I'm gonna curve everything and get everything real nice. Actually, I think I'm gonna attach these two first and then curve them. This one I think I'm gonna curve first and then attach them. So I'm gonna also go look for stuff, obviously. Maybe old leather shoes or something like that to use. If you want, you can obviously go buy really nice leather, but I'm not really about spending money that I don't need to spend if I have materials around the house. Otherwise, I totally will go and buy it. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get working on melting this wax off and cleaning them up. Okay, it looks like I just killed a shoe, because I totally did. But I have these old, actually they're really not that old, they're only a few months old, Walmart off-brand shoes. I got them because I needed them for a CNA course. I've only worn them 12 times. But since I was not going to wear them anymore because they were not comfortable and all that jazz, I decided I could use the shoe leather for them, or from them, for this, which would actually work perfectly. And the thing that got me most excited was the laces, because if you know, on most armor you have to lace it up, and that will secure it however tight or loose you need it, and it's like pretty much able to fit on anyone now. And it had useful pieces like this tongue that I can use for padding. I'm going to use this piece right here though, the tongue, for shoulder padding, and what I'm going to do is drill a hole and secure it in one single spot just to the middle. Like I said, I'm going to secure this with one screw, and I might actually just end up securing both of these lacing pieces, if I can find the other one, like that, in the middle as well, and then just attach the second piece on both sides with no leather attached to it, and then of course add a little bit of glue to secure it where I need, and then I can just lace this piece up. And I think that will work pretty well, and I'll have a big enough bow on both of these that it's going to be freaking awesome. Okay, that is definitely my plan, because that'll be easy. As far as this other piece, I'm not really sure yet. Let me give it a look and I will let you guys know. So this is how I'm going to be bending my metal. And if you happen to pick metal that is not as easy to bend, heat it up with a blowtorch and maybe try the same thing, but make sure you're wearing gloves. If you're using this exact same metal, then just do it this way. Just find something about the size of your shoulder, which actually my shoulder is a little bit bigger than that, but you know, technicalities. I actually drew a line in the back so I can see, so I gotta bend it this way. Okay, so that gave me a slight bend, a little bit more on one side than it did the other. Okay, so this hammer will help aid in the bending process, but it will also give it some pretty cool character marks. And I'm just trying to see, I think over here I need like a little bit more. It's like bugging me. I want it to be like perfect. I'm just gonna try to bow it in the middle. Put even pressure on both sides, which is gonna be a little bit tough to do. Okay. Come on. It actually really isn't making too many hammer dents either, so that's actually somewhat disappointing. I wanted it to be like really neat. Okay, that's all I'm gonna make. Okay, so unfortunately what happened was my camera died while I was showing you how I was bending this metal. So I don't know how much of it I actually got, but I was using the hammer to get like extreme bends on these corners, and then I was using, let's drop that. And then I was just using my arms to bend this upper portion, and then like I said, I don't know if it got in there, I had to use the hammer to bend this lower part because of the tension. It was only bending this upper part, and this lower part needed a slight bend in it as well. And while I was waiting for my camera to charge, I went ahead and built the rest of it, so that will actually save on a lot of time, but I will show you guys the entire build. And I am actually almost done with the gauntlet or handpiece, whatever you want to call it, so you'll be able to see that entire thing. First off, I just took these pieces of leather and pierced them through the middle. I put a single screw through it and then pierced all of them so it went through, and then I drilled a single hole in the middle, and that's all that this one goes through. And then I put it in there and tightened all of it up, and then of course when this is tied up, I don't have that big of an arm, I'm pretty scrawny, I'll put the laces through there and tighten it up. Then this next piece just goes on the top. So I have the bolt sticking through on this side, but on this side I have the actual screw sticking through. And as you can tell, this isn't even. I decided to go ahead and leave it like that. I actually unwrapped this side once and then rewrapped it. And I did that just by banging it on the corner of the anvil and then folding them over. If you don't have an anvil, you could just bend them on a piece of table and then bend them all the way over. Use some pliers, that'll help too. I just used the hammer. Sorry I wasn't able to record that. But I just go ahead and stick all these pieces through. Okay, so there I screwed on the last piece, but I'm going to tighten everything now and then figure out if I'm going to grind these down. I'm going to go check the armor design and see if I should grind those down or just leave them. Okay, so I finally finished up this piece. There's still a little bit of glue drying on it, but I really didn't need to show you guys anything more because it's mostly the same stuff. What I did is I glued a piece of leather here and I glued a piece of leather on here. I cut an X right where my middle finger would go. So whenever this is dry, I slip it on, I lace it up, I stick my middle finger through there, so then that's actually attached to my hand. As far as this piece goes, how it articulates with the hand, it would fit on there pretty nicely, but it would move in and out like that because I ended up drilling 3 holes and connecting all of them, so it gives you that little forward reverse movement you need. I actually need to loosen this up more so it can go up and down. I need to figure out a way to get a different screw so this can stay on here so it can actually articulate up and articulate down a little bit. So I'm still getting that worked out, but like I said, this was my first ever armor build. It obviously goes side to side really well. This was my first ever armor build, so this was something that was very new for me, especially the articulating pieces, which I really want to figure out. I think normally they're hooked on sides, and that's how it moves up and down and side to side, but yeah, I didn't do that obviously. And for a handpiece, it doesn't look half bad. I actually like how these are sticking out. I could have made them less visible, but I like the look it gives the handguard, and so it's pretty sweet. This piece obviously turned out a lot better and a lot more like Ike's original armor, but pretty much anyone who does this is going to add their own personal flair in some way, so I'd assume you would do the same. Maybe you're not even making it because it's Ike's armor. That I really wasn't. I was mainly doing it to say I did, and that's probably the biggest question I get is why would you make that, and I'm just like, to say I did. So anyway, once all this glue dries, I'll slip it on and show you guys how it looks and works and all that jazz. And in the meantime, I'm going to get started on other videos and stuff. So thanks. Be right back. Here's the final hand piece. Like I said, I drilled this hole in there so it can articulate. Wore it actually, and it does not really restrain your movement. It does up and down a little bit, but as far as functioning goes, whenever you're like doing tasks and stuff, it actually feels fine. Although, compared to what I wanted this to look like, I knew it was going to be a challenge, but would have just left it as a single piece and attached to other pieces. Probably would have looked a little bit better. I'm not really too happy with the way this looks, but I don't think it looks bad. It just looks unique. And I might throw this on really quick and show you guys, but I want to show you this other piece, shoulder piece. So you guys have already seen the full shoulder piece, but on the back side I had to do some modifications. You can see that there is another string right here. What I did with that string is I slipped it in between this first piece and put it underneath these bolts. This piece is actually, this white string is what goes around your neck to hold it to your shoulder, and then this fastens it to your arm, which is the basic mechanism we already talked about. I did put some adhesive glue, or whatever you want to call it, just regular glue, underneath of this so that it held to the body of the metal, as I was having trouble with it sliding. It's also very difficult to get on if you're by yourself. I had Kyle tie it on for me earlier, and that made it really easy. But anyway, so that is the completed product. The only thing I might still do with this is get off this galvanized stuff, rub some vinegar on there, sand it up, and get a different color. So thanks for watching this video. If you want to see all this stuff in action, I'm going to be doing a testing video here pretty soon. I just have one more video to record that will complete this entire project. I'm going to do a really awesome testing video for all this stuff. If it's already out, then there will be a link in the description, and if not, please subscribe, and that will be coming out very shortly. So thanks for watching, and you can check out my other social media like Twitter and Instagram and all that jazz, and I will see you guys in the next video.